What's going on YouTube? This is Necrostevo and I have a battle video for you today. I'm very annoyed because I just spent a long time editing this thing and then Vegas just crapped out on me and then it corrupted the save. So we're gonna do this again with just as much energy, right? Right, of course. Today's match is an OU match that I had against TheIronShovel. Be sure to go check out his link in the description because he is a good battler. And I'm using my Sandstorm team with a few tweaks. I like this Sandstorm team, so I started off with Choice Scarf High Dragon, and I was afraid he would U-turn if he happened to be Choice Scarfed as well. And so I decided to go straight out into Paladon to maybe set up my rocks in response to his rocks, or if he decided to switch out, I could just roar some things around. I don't know, we have options. He also brought in his Blissey on the same switch, and so that gives me a free opportunity to set up my rocks. I did not want to take a grass attack from Celebi, so I go on to my Sigilif to resist the grass attack or even the psychic attack, and holy crap, that Leaf Storm did a lot of damage. At the time, I was confused as to whether it was my weird bulky investment as far as how I gave it just enough HP and defense to live some physical attacks before burns. Um, but it turns out that Celebi is specs, so not I didn't have that confirmed until a little later on, but wow, that did a lot of damage. I did not want to take a physical hit from at full health Infernape here. I didn't know if he was Life Orb or Choice Bandit or whatever. Didn't want to deal with that, especially when I have a physical wall to handle it. I did not want to risk going out into Blastoise in case he tried to go for an electric attack. Um, and that works out. I'm able just to kind of bring in Hippowdon and not have too much to worry about there. And since I expected him to switch, I decided to go for Roar to get a little bit more residual damage off on the rest of his team. And I Roar Mountain to his Landorus, which sucks because I know he's going to set up rocks in my face, and I can't do much about it at this point. I can just roar after he sets up rocks, so at least he can't choose what he gets to switch into. And I was hoping it might force him back out into Infernape, but it brings back Blissey, and I'm like, darn it, Blissey can Toxic me, it can Ice Beam me. I don't want to deal with those things. So we're going to switch out of this situation. And he actually chooses this time to switch as well into Celebi, probably expecting me to switch into my Blastoise, or maybe he expected me to stay in and attack with Earthquake. Either way, he got the better end of that deal. I cannot stay in here, especially knowing how much that Leaf Storm did to a Pokemon that quad resisted it. Even though my Blastoise is especially defensive, it's not going to take that hit at all. And so I bring in my Hydreigon, and here is where I get confirmation rather that it is a Spec Celebi, because that did a lot of damage to my Hydreigon as well, and it's like, holy crap, too much damage here. I really should have taken this opportunity to go for an attack. I ended up U-turning. If I had just gone for any attack, Flamethrower, Draco Meteor, or even my Dragon Pulse, any Dark Pulse, any of that stuff, it would have put me in a great position later on. But since I just chose to U-turn out, I did get Switch Initiative. I get to go out into my Blastoise and spin away his rocks. If he wants to set him back up, that's fine. But I didn't think he would stay in because of the threat of Scald or an Ice Beam from Blastoise. And so I do get to get rid of the rocks. He brings back out Celebi, which is fine by me because I can just once again switch out into something else. And Celebi is finally getting whittled down here. And I was like, okay, if I can just keep on whittling this thing down, it's going to be easier to deal with. Because right now, I don't really have anything that can deal with it very well. Because my Terrakion is a double dancing Terrakion. And it has an adamant nature and really crappy speed IVs. So it cannot outspeed his Celebi unless I use a Rock Polish first. And it's like, okay, what can I bring in here? I did get a chance to roost earlier, so I ended up going back out into Sigilif. And he went for Giga Drain, so it does not do nearly as much damage as it did before, but he gets back a sizable chunk of HP. I ended up just Calm Minding, and then I'm going to go for a Roost in the Infernape's face because I called his bluff. I did not think he was going to stay in and Flare Blitz or Stone Edge or anything like that. And so I just stayed in and used Stored Power in case he wanted to U-turn, which is what I predicted he'd do. And he goes out into Dragonite, which is fine by me because I know I'm faster than Dragonite by my weird speed investment and my timid nature. Normally, Sigilif run much more bulky spreads. I'm a little bit bulky. I'm bulky enough to live things like weird attacks like a Gengar's Thunderbolt or things like that. You know, Choice Scarf Gengar Thunderbolt or I'm bulky enough for those specific things that I was able to hit an IV and enough investment to live. But at the other end, it's like still not that bulky, so I decided to invest more in speed. So it's like max speed, and then the rest is in bulk. But to do that, I had to sacrifice some special attack. So I am able to get up to +2 here in a little bit, and his Blissey has aromatherapy, which sucks because that Psycho Shift that I put on both the Blissey and the Dragonite is now gone, which means that was a waste of time. But of course, if I hadn't done that to the Dragonite, then I would have died to a Dragon Claw. And so we're going to get up to +2 right now, +2 attack, +2 special attack. Of course, stored power increases 20 base power points for every stat boost you have. So that's going to be +2 +2, that's 4. 4 times 20 is, say it with me everyone, 80. So we're at a slightly higher amount of damage here, still not enough to really threaten Blissey. I've never had Sidelift go up against Blissey before, but with him only doing 100 damage each turn and then having his leftovers be negated, and then I could increase the damage to that by forcing him to go for aromatherapy, I'm going to win this war eventually. So I figured I'd stay in here until I predicted that he'd switch out. And since I burned him again, I figured, okay, he's either going to switch out or he's going to go for aromatherapy. And he doesn't really have a reason to go for aromatherapy because nothing else on his team is burned. So I predicted him to switch. I didn't know what he would switch to, but I did predict him to switch that turn. So I'm just going to roost up. And he brings out Keldeo, and even if he has Hidden Power Ghost at +2 special defense, he cannot KO me, and I just know that from experience. The only way he can kill me is if he's Choice Specs, and the way he was playing it, I didn't think he was Choice Specs. So, I mean, it has a scarf and a question mark, so it is questionable if he was Choice Specs, but by that damage, I know that he's not. So, I'm able to take that out with a stored power, and that is one huge threat down. I make a mistake here by leaving in my Sigilif. I could have very easily brought Blastoise in right here, but I figured my Sigilif's usefulness had run its course, and I didn't want to risk giving him switching momentum. And I could have just brought in Blastoise, but since I did not bring in Blastoise, here is where I learned that he is Choice Scarfed, as he outspeeds my Hydreigon, which is also Choice Scarfed. And that sucks because it's going to be a double down, which, don't get me wrong, double downs are the best types of downs, and I love them so, but there was no reason for me to put myself in that position. I could have just brought in my Blastoise, handled it from there. Now here is where I would have loved to have that extra damage on the Landorus, because Retaliate at -1 is going to barely miss out on the KO. And he is a defensive Landorus, so I knew I could live an Earthquake, but he gets a critical hit. And that was a Choice Banded Retaliate at -1, so as if I did not have the Choice Band on right there. And he definitely needed that crit to KO my Stoutland. And Stoutland basically runs train through the rest of his team after Landorus is gone. So that was a little bit unfortunate. That's okay though, we're going to try to recoup our losses. I still have Terrakion as a sweeper in the back of my pocket. I just have to either get a... I really need a Rock Polish and a Swords Dance because I know I don't outspeed Celebi, assuming that it's not modest. If it's timid, then I definitely can't outspeed it. And if it's modest, that really comes down to what his speed investment is. Because I have really crappy IVs on this Terrakion. But that's okay, because I caught it. I didn't even use a... I don't remember if I used a Master Ball on this one. I forgot to look at the animation. There was one Terrakion I caught without using a Master Ball, and that was fun because he really did not want to get into the Luxury Ball. But anyways, though, I'm able to get up to +2, which I figured that was more important than the Rock Polish at this point, because I know Landorus, because it's still alive, because of that earlier mishap with the damage rolls that I didn't actually go for, so there was no rolling involved. I know I'm going to go down to -1, so now I'm only at +1 as far as my attack modifier goes, and I'm able to finish that off. I figure at this point he's probably just going to switch in and out of things to try to get defense drops on me and then go for a priority attack or something like that, and he goes for it a bit prematurely here. If he had sacrificed his Blissey first and also sacrificed, I don't know, something else, he probably could have KO'd me with extreme speed at -2 or -3, but not at -1. And so I have maybe 3 attacks left there from my Life Orb Recoil. I know Blissey cannot take this close combat to the face, so maybe if he had brought in Blissey first, then gone to Dragonite, I would have died to my Life Orb Recoil. We would have had a double down again, and then he would have just been able to go into Celebi. But now it's like, okay, do I outspeed the Celebi? And the answer is definitely no. Without a rock polish, I know I can't outspeed it. But at the same token, I did not want to switch out because I didn't want to give him more health back from the Giga Drain. I didn't really have anything to do at this point because all I have left is Blastoise and Hippowdon. So unfortunately, that battle is going to come to a very dramatic, anticlimactic, over-emphatic end. It was a good battle, though. Overall, I really enjoyed this battle. It was just fun to use Stoutland and Sigilyph and Blastoise and OU. I don't often bring all OU Pokemon to OU when I do battle in OU. And that was a good battle. So you guys be sure to go check out his channel. No Pokefacts today just because I'm kind of just making this while I have a very short break. Next week I'll be back on my normal schedule. If I get a chance to upload on Friday, there will not likely be Pokefacts in that either because that's opening night for my musical. So we'll see. I will do my best to get something up for you guys, but we will definitely see. Thank you guys so much for watching my battle video. Thank you all for also being patient with my uploads while I'm in this very busy part of my life. The school year has started for K through 12 grades, so I will be substitute teaching again, but that's a much easier schedule to manage than the musical alongside working 2 jobs. Just working 3 jobs is oddly easier because the hours are easier. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Whatever pictures I decide to put here, I hope you guys enjoy those pictures as well. And I will talk to you guys on Friday. Bye now.